Rosie O'Donnell never planned to move to Ireland, but a 20-year feud with a two-time president convinced her that she needed an exit plan fast. 5 days before Inauguration Day 2025, she was on a plane to Dublin. Here's why she could do that when most people couldn't, and whether or not you can too. I'm Brad with Evolution Expats. If you saw my video on George Clooney's French citizenship, you watched a 23-year chess game, 3 countries, methodical testing, a patient, strategic approach to building international options. This is the opposite. This is a 5-day scramble, a backup plan that became Plan A overnight. And here's the thing, it worked. Because whatever else you have to say about Rosie O'Donnell, the woman had her paperwork in order. So stay tuned, because if you have Irish heritage, a parent, a grandparent, maybe even a great-grandparent born on the island of Ireland, you could be eligible for the same exit strategy. And in this case study, I'll show you exactly how that works. If international citizenship and residency matter to you, if you're serious or curious, subscribe to this channel. Laws change fast. Ireland just updated their foreign birth register requirements. What's possible today might not be possible in 5 years. Hit subscribe and leave a like so that the content I make for you actually gets sent to you. Now, let's talk about Rosie's escape route. Now look, I'm not here to relitigate a 20-year celebrity feud. You've got your opinions, I've got mine, and neither of us is changing our mind in the next 14.2 minutes. What I am here to do is to show you what Rosie did right from a citizenship perspective. Because whatever you think of her politics, she executed a textbook ancestry claim. The mechanics of what she did are available to millions of Americans. Most of them just don't know it. So we're going to focus on that. Rosie O'Donnell was born in Comac, New York in 1962, as American as apple pie. But her family tree tells a different story. Her father, Edward Joseph O'Donnell, was born in County Donegal, Ireland. He immigrated to America as a child. Her mother, Roseanne Teresa Murtha, was an Irish-American with roots in County Kildare. Now, why that matters? Under Irish law, if one of your parents was born on the island of Ireland, you are automatically an Irish citizen. You don't have to apply for it. You don't have to earn it. You are one. You just need to claim it by applying for your passport. Rosie's father was born in Donegal. That makes her Irish by birth, even though she was born in New York. She's not applying for citizenship. She's documenting the citizenship she already has. And of course, if you remember her playing Betty Rubble in the Flintstones, you know she's comfortable going way back. But in this case, she only had to go back one generation. Her father. That's it. This is the simplest path to Irish citizenship, and it's the path that Rosie took. But here's where it gets interesting for you. Not everyone has an Irish-born parent, but plenty of Americans have an Irish-born grandparent, and that's where the foreign birth register comes in. If your grandparent was born in Ireland, you can claim Irish citizenship, but you have to register your birth on Ireland's foreign birth register first. It's an extra step, and it takes about 9 months to process. You need original documents going back generations, birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates as applicable. It's a bit of a grind. And as Rosie learned back in 1992, there's no crying in bureaucracy either. 9 months, original documentation, 3 generations of paperwork. That's what the foreign birth register requires. But once you're on it, you are an Irish citizen, full stop. An EU passport, the right to live and work in 27 European countries, all because your grandmother or grandfather happened to be born in Cork or Kerry or Galloway. Your family tree is your golden ticket. Now here's the part that should make you a bit nervous in a productive way. There is a generational clock ticking on most Irish citizenships by descent, and most families don't even know it exists. Here's how it works. If your parent was born in Ireland, you're automatically an Irish citizen. No registration required. If your grandparent was born in Ireland, you qualify, but you must register on the foreign birth register to claim it. If your great-grandparent was born in Ireland, you can only claim citizenship if your parent registered on the foreign birth registration before you were born. So read that again. If your parent didn't register before you were born, the chain breaks. Your great-grandmother's Irish birth means nothing for your citizenship application. This is why I tell people, if you have Irish ancestry, register now, even if you're not ready to move, even if you never plan on leaving America. Because if you don't register before your children are born, you're closing the door for them that they can never reopen. Rosie didn't have this problem. Her claim goes through her father, 1 generation back. But if you're working with grandparents or great-grandparents, the clock is ticking. Now, let me address the elephant in the room. In July of 2025, President Trump posted on Truth Social that he was, quote, giving serious consideration to taking away Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. He called her not in the best interests of our great country and a threat to humanity. His words, not mine. Those are strong words, but here's what you need to know. He can't actually do that. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution guarantees citizenship to anyone born on American soil. And in 1967, the Supreme Court ruled in Ephraim versus Russ that the government cannot strip citizenship from natural-born Americans against their will. The only way to lose birthright citizenship is to voluntarily renounce it. A president can say whatever he wants on social media, but the Constitution says Rosie O'Donnell is an American citizen for as long as she wants to be one. Now, she's also becoming an Irish citizenship. That's dual citizenship. Both passports, both sets of rights. She's not trading one for another. She's adding options. That's not fleeing. That's diversifying. And there's one more piece of this story worth understanding. Rosie moved to Ireland with her 12-year-old daughter, Clay, who has autism. In interviews, Rosie has talked about how Ireland's specialist schools were a factor in her decision. This matters because it shows that the relocation isn't just about politics or taxes or lifestyle. Sometimes relocation is about finding the right environment for you and your family, the right schools, the right support systems, the right fit. Rosie found that fit in Sandymount, a coastal suburb of Dublin. She's talked about how welcoming the community has been, how different the celebrity culture is, and how her daughter is thriving. Whatever brought her to Ireland initially, she's building an actual life there. That's not a vacation. That's not a protest. That's a real relocation with real family considerations. So, what can we all learn from this? Lesson 1. Your backup plan needs to exist before you need it. Rosie moved in 5 days. Most people can't do that. She could because she already knew her ancestry, she already had access to the documents, and she already understood the pathway. When circumstances changed, she executed. There was no scramble to figure out if she was eligible. She knew she was. So, do you know if you're eligible for citizenship somewhere else? Have you checked? Have you documented it? Lesson 2. Heritage is a great equalizer. Rosie O'Donnell has money, she has lawyers, and she has resources that most of us don't have. But her citizenship didn't come from any of that. It came from her father being born in Donegal. That's it. A fact of birth in 1933 created an option in 2025. Your great-grandmother's birthplace might be doing the same thing for you right now. You just need to find out. Lesson 3. Documentation is everything. The Foreign Birth Register requires original civil documents. Birth certificates with parental details, marriage certificates, death certificates if your ancestors are deceased. If you don't have these, getting them takes time. Sometimes months, sometimes longer if you're dealing with foreign archives. So, let me give you a practical roadmap for how to start. Step 1. Have conversations with your family. Call your parents, your aunts, your uncles. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. If you're lucky enough to still have grandparents, talk to them as well. Ask them about the old country. Ask where great-grandmother was actually born. Ask about the family stories you heard as a kid. Document everything. Record the conversations if they'll let you. Write down dates, names, cities, parishes, as much detail as you can extract. These are your initial clues, but here's an important caveat. Much of what you hear may be inaccurate, misremembered, family legend, or sometimes, and this is more common than you think, the product of covering up family skeletons. Be kind to your elders. They grew up in a different time and they may have reasons for the stories that they tell. Your job isn't to interrogate, it's to gather clues. And then on to step 2. Ancestry.com. You've probably heard of it. But this is where you turn clues into facts. You take your grandma's story about somewhere in Cork County and you find the actual parish record. You take someone saying, I think it was around 1920, and you find the ship manifest with the exact date. I recommend paying for the subscription to get access to the best records. Yes, it costs a bit of money, but when you weigh that against the windfall of securing a second citizenship for you, your children, and your descendants, that subscription is the best investment you'll make in your family's future mobility, by far. Step 3, a professional assessment. Sometimes the detective work necessary to find the documentation you need requires a professional genealogist or an immigration attorney who specializes in citizenship by descent. Here's why I recommend this as step 3 and not step 1. If you walk into a professional's office with a detailed outline from your Ancestry.com research, names, date, locations, document references, you will save them hours of work. And since they bill hourly, you will save yourself hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Come prepared. Do your homework first. Then, bring in the professionals to close the gaps. And I'll be posting videos on some of the more common difficulties people run into, missing records, name changes, the particular quirks of Irish parish archives. So keep an eye on your notifications. That content will save you even more time and money on your journey. But start now, even if you're not planning to move for 10 years, even if you may never plan to move, because when you need to move fast, you'll be glad you did. Your children, your grandchildren, they will thank you. George Clooney took 23 years in order to become French. Rosie O'Donnell took 5 days to get to Ireland. Different timelines, different motivations, the same underlying principle. When opportunity meets preparation, you have options. One more thing. Whatever your politics, Rosie O'Donnell gave us Betty Rubble. She gave us Doris Murphy in a league of their own. She gave us 6 years of daytime television that earned her the nickname the Queen of Nice. She built a career entertaining Americans for 4 decades. Now, she's building a new life in Ireland, writing, performing stand-up in Dublin clubs, raising her daughter by the Irish Sea. We wish her well, and we thank her for the memories in this case study. If this video made you think about your own ancestry, if you're wondering about whether you might have an Irish grandparent or an Italian lineage, a claim that you've never explored, that's exactly what we help with at Evolution Expats. Citizenship by descent is one of the most underutilized pathways to international mobility. Millions of Americans are eligible for a second passport and they don't even know it. We can help you find out. Book a consultation at Evolution Expats. We'll look through your family history, identify potential pathways, and tell you exactly what documents you need and how to get them. The link is in the description. And if you want to make sure that your documents are ready when you need them, check out our document hygiene playlist. It walks you through everything: apostees, vital records, the works. Because the worst time to organize your paperwork is when you need it yesterday. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. We're building the most comprehensive library of citizenship and residency strategies on YouTube. Celebrity case studies, country deep dives, document tutorials, all of it for you, to help you out, to make it easier, faster, and hopefully cost a little bit less. Remember, the right information makes it all possible. I'm Brad with Evolution Expats, and I'll see you in our next video.